Looks like everybody is here, so I will officially kick this off. And first up and foremost, want to make sure everybody knows that this meeting is being recorded. And I will officially call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. on February 12th, 2025. Take roll call attendance first. Commissioner Schwartz. She's present.
Here.
Commissioner Matos.
Here.
Commissioner Machado.
Here.
Commissioner Goldsby.
Here.
Commissioner Hirschman.
Here.
And Youth Advocate Joseph. All right, so just to get things started as we usually do, just want to make sure everybody had a chance to review the minutes from last meeting, and we'll go ahead and approve those once everybody gets a chance to just quickly look them over if they haven't already. So I'll give everybody a minute to do that. I needed a motion to approve last meeting's minutes.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
I'll take a roll call vote on that. If you're in favor, say aye. If no, nay. Commissioner Schwartz. Commissioner Matos.
Aye.
Commissioner Machado.
Aye.
Commissioner Goldsby.
Aye.
Commissioner Hirschman.
Aye.
And I am also an aye, so last meeting's minutes pass. And let's just jump right into the agenda. So Dolores, do you want to start out with your advocate report tonight? That's okay. Dolores, we can't hear you, I don't think. It doesn't say you're muted, but we can't hear you. Okay, so I did do a little bit of research on, possible pickleball fundraiser. What I'll do is I can forward everybody the flyer, maybe after the meeting or tomorrow. Pickleball and More does events like this quite often. I haven't actually researched into Town Rec, which is something that Dolores brought up at last meeting, but in just thinking, as in my past as a college tennis coach, we would do fundraisers all the time, and half the time they would get canceled because of rain. So to put in any kind of effort into a local fundraiser and rely on the weather seemed a little iffy. So I wanted to do the Pickleball and More thing first. They do plenty of events like this. They said they have it pretty dialed in. And basically, what it is you rent the space for various levels. I think base is probably going to be around $350 to $400. I haven't discussed with them at all, kind of not that we're exactly a nonprofit, but the good of the town type thing, and try to negotiate it all. What you get with that basic package, though, is you get it's a 3-hour event. You get 2 courts for 3 hours, includes all the paddles and balls you want. You have the lounge area, which I'm not sure if people have been there, but they've got a few TVs, and they've got a couple staff members that can help things along, as well as the basic setup and cleanup. I haven't done like a full cost breakdown in terms of how many people we would need to get registered, but my gut tells me that for $390, my guess is we could raise a significant amount more than that. So I don't know. Does anybody have any initial kind of thoughts?
I think that's a hefty investment when we don't have a lot of. I mean, I think we don't have a ton of extra to throw around, so that makes me a little bit hesitant.
Yeah, totally. So that was going to be kind of my question for Dolores in terms of like, you know, eh, with the caveat that I don't know how much you'd be able to raise. I do think we'd be able to clear that $400 barrier relatively easily just because of how popular pickleball is in general. But you know, like Pam said, it's definitely not a small number. So Dolores, in terms of the access of cash we have available to us, you know, is that a use that you would see fit to use?
Well, it's up to the pleasure of the commission. So there is money. So I don't know how much is in there, but I know it is probably maybe around $2,000. I can get that information to you. I just actually got a report a couple of days ago from the town accountant. So I know that is over $1,000, I believe almost $2,000 in the account. It could be a little more. But back to pickleball, I know that it is extremely popular. I sit on the wellness committee for the town of Dartmouth, and I believe that was one of the activities through the Maya Wellness that they offered this past year, and it was extremely popular. People signed up. It was a wait list for that, and that's something that they're going to offer again. I've been told that it fills up extremely fast. It is extremely popular. So there is a possibility that it just depends on how you do this, that you could recoup the money because it is extremely popular in Dartmouth and a lot of people like to do pickleball. I'm sorry because I had to switch devices. So are we talking about the location where that's off of Dartmouth Street? Is that the location you were talking about, Jeremy? Okay.
Yeah, what I said
yeah.
was just having done tennis fundraisers in the past when I was a coach, having to rely on the weather and using like town rec and stuff like that, it's just a little chancy. So, you know, if hypothetically speaking, you got 20 people to sign up at, again, just throwing numbers out real quick. And Alex, I saw you raise your hand, so give me 1 second. But
Yeah.
just, you know, if you got 20 people to sign up and you recoup $20 a pop, and then you recoup that initial investment, well, then at the event itself, you can get, you know, you get other type donations and raffle items, stuff like that. Whereas if you have it outdoors and you run the risk of not having the event at all, well, you know, maybe the initial investment is basically nothing, but at the same time, you might not get anything because you have to cancel the event, which I ran into more than a handful of times. But so that's kind of why I just pursued pickleball and more. And it is a very popular location. But anyway, Alex, sorry, you wanted to chime in with something?
No, not a problem at all. So, a couple of things. Did pickleball and more suggest a format that is successful? How are we pulling this off? How many people? How much a charge per person? Prizes? That sort of thing. Did you get any
No,
feedback
that
from
would
them?
be really up to us in terms of format and you know, how much we're charging, prizes, stuff like that. I do know one thing I could do pretty easily is get I was talking to probably one of the better pickleball players in the area that teaches some over in Fairhaven at the South Coast pickleball location. He'd be willing to donate like an hour-and-a-half clinic or something like that we could have as a prize or a raffle item or something like that. So but yeah.
What if we did sponsors, and in that way that's what would offset the cost? If we have sponsors, I will sponsor. Like, I don't have a problem doing that. And
That
then
is something.
there could be levels of sponsorship, like, you know, and then we advertise like based on the level, you know, if we have pamphlets or whatever it is, maybe do a pamphlet that explains what, you know, what it's about.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Something that I hadn't thought of at all. Pam, it looked like you were gonna add in something, or am I? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be willing to sponsor. So that way that would offset the cost, so we wouldn't even have to go into the fund.
Yeah, I think sponsorship is, I think that that's something that can go over quite well. That's the kind of thing I could see Steve offering to sponsor, or Silverstein. And like some of those kinds of people also, the other thing you can do is you can offer, for donations, you can also offer like, will be listed in, your name will be listed in this, that, and the other. I know that whenever I'm asked to donate to auctions, my first question is, how will my name be linked? So just a heads up that that's something that does matter. But I do think we could get a fair amount of raffle prizes. I think that's easy enough to do.
And I guess I should mention this now as well. I don't want to belabor this or talk about it now, but if people want to talk about it offline, one, I would say I am more than willing to continue to help with this event since I was the one that started with the idea, but I am going to be stepping away from the Youth Commission after basically this meeting. This is my kind of 3 years are up. Had some personal reasons for it, nothing major, but it's time I take a step back for some other stuff. But because I've already started, like I said, I'm more than willing, if people do want to do this, still more than willing to be a point person and help organize this event. But I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, anyway.
And I also want to put out too, that if this is something that the commission moves forward with, and I know Pam was, and people do, like if there are people that sponsor events, it's like, how are they going to be recognized for, their contribution? Another way to be recognized too is at a select board meeting, this could be on the agenda to talk about the fundraiser, or once the fundraiser is done, and to acknowledge the sponsors who helped put this fundraiser together. So that's another avenue that people who choose to either be a sponsor or donate, we can have them recognized at one of the select board meetings also.
Is that something typically the Dartmouth Chronicle is willing to write about or post as a free advertisement or of the event and recognize those who have provided sponsorships?
That's the kind of thing that they'll probably be willing to write it up, but asking them to recognize all the different sponsors is not a guarantee. That's been my experience from doing much larger events in the New Bedford area. Standard Time's always happy to write about it, but it's at the journalist's discretion what they write.
I mean, if this is going to be an event, we're inviting people. It could be as simple as like a poster or something at the event as well, right? It'd be nice if we get it in addition to other things, but displaying the name for the people who are going, I think, is probably sufficient for most people.
Yeah, and quite frankly, like as a business owner, being announced at the select board, that does nothing for me. Like,
Well, it was just a suggestion, Pam. I'm just
no.
putting things out
I mean,
there.
like, it's not a bad idea, but
Yeah.
but like, it's just.
Well, and it's not about the select board. It's about who watches the select board meetings too. So a lot of people do. So I'm just putting it out there. It wasn't just for the select board. It's just for who watches the meetings too, I guess. But,
And I like the idea of Jeremy, your friend, offering an hour and a half session. Just throwing this out, it could be cool if let's just pick a number, 40 people who show up, everyone, one of their bonuses is they get like a chalk talk, a chat with him with some game strategies and things like that, to help up their game. Just a thought.
Yeah,
That way everyone benefits.
Yeah, the only thing with that is depending on who signs up, if it's like all beginners and intermediate players, something like that, then that's great. If there are, believe it or not, there are a fair amount of pretty advanced players in the area. I'd try to tap into to get to sign up in the first place because they're my network. So I just, I don't know if that's a value add for a lot of people. But I'm, he already told me again, the raffle prize of, or excuse me, whether it's a raffle prize or if we have an event with a winner, if the winners might get this prize, it would be off-site at a different time, or something like that. But so his presence isn't necessarily guaranteed there. But yeah, I can talk to him about that as well.
It may just be sufficient that this benefits summer camp for the kids, and that's enough of a prize for most of the local residents that would participate in this.
Yeah, I would think so. And then you just have the little value add type stuff. I mean, it's apples to oranges, but I was just at my sister's running the Boston Marathon, and she had a wine fundraiser, and she was all stressed out about the auction prizes she was giving away. It was like 40 people are coming to your house to basically have fun with their friends and drink some wine. If the auction prizes aren't like those are all secondary, but same kind of mentality.
Well, it sounds like Pam's been involved in this. The couple that I've been involved in, it's all about getting the word out and having a little sign at the entrance of Joe's, having it on the billboard at Black Bass, having it at UMass Dartmouth on a couple of billboards. It's getting the word out is usually the hard part, and we don't have a natural customer list that we can distribute this to as an organization. So we're tapping into other means of getting the word out to people through media, through posters, through our contacts, Burgo Basketball's contacts. We're going to have to be creative in how to get the word out there. I mean, it could be 100 people show up, and that would be fantastic if we really get the word out there.
Dolores, out of curiosity, do you know how widely viewed Facebook posts are on the page that you run?
No, I don't. I don't look at the analytics. I do get hits when people like repost or if someone looks at it, but I can't tell you like how widely it is viewed by others. I mean, that is an outlet, but I don't know if that would be the best one. I wouldn't say yes to that.
Oh yeah, I was just curious because just trying to think of other ways to get the word out and stuff like that. But the one concrete step that I'd like to take. Sorry.
I was just gonna say real quick, I think the easiest thing for this is like you go play some pickleball, you show up to Fairhaven, the Buttonwood Park, you show up to Fairhaven, like, and this is a word of mouth kind of event. Yeah, this is the kind, I think the best advertise. If it's for pickleball people, you just gotta show up and play some pickleball.
Yeah, it's a little bit cultish, the pickleball scene these days. So, and honestly, if you get, Caitlin, I noticed you laughing, but it's if I got 10 decent players that play a lot from South Coast or pickleball and more to be like, yeah, we're in, that'd be great. They're gonna bring like their crew, and their crew is a lot. So
I believe you. I'm not laughing at the idea. I've never heard the word pickleball so many times in 10 minutes.
Michael Lip is like a national champion.
That's great.
What I might do is, or what I will do is, as way of immediate follow-up is tomorrow, I will get the informational flyer out to the email chain. I will also follow up with Pickleball and More and find out how far out are they booking for stuff like this. My guess is not, I think at our last meeting, we mentioned maybe something kind of late summer, early fall when school is back and people are back from summer vacation. And it's also close enough to the holidays where we can kind of be like, hey, start thinking about the underprivileged people in the town that might need help. And that's why we're doing this. And my guess is they're going to tell me that, yeah, if you're looking at sometime in early September, we have plenty of time to make that decision, especially since the event itself, like I said, is you're not getting the whole facility. The facility's 9 courts and cornhole boards and dart boards. We're getting 2 courts in the lounge area for a few hours. So my guess is we can have our dates to choose from. And I will also, Shawnee, that's a great idea about sponsorship. Something, like I said, I hadn't thought of. My guess is my company that I work for, even though we don't really do local business, we'd be happy to slap our name on there for part of the cost as well. So I think pretty easy to do.
And just
and
go ahead. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
The one last thought I had, as I'm speaking, I read that $390 or $400 would not be our final cost. Obviously, we'd need to, drinks, snacks, stuff like that. But I don't think you're talking about too much more, especially since, well, when it comes to like athletic events, Pam, I see your smirk a little bit, but again, this is in my experience doing athletic events, we would provide a lot of base stuff. A lot of, we'd also recommend people, hey, you're going to be playing pickleball for a couple hours, bring your own Gatorade as well, stuff like that. Anything you usually bring for an athletic event, do, and we'll supplement it as well. But I think with the sponsorships, we'd be more than covered. So anyway.
So just quick clarify, we are not looking at this to supplement the donation for summer scholarships to XYZ camp.
So when I mentioned this last time, my idea was to come up with something that is relatively repeatable, as whether it's yearly or every other year, something like that. Something that's relatively not a huge ask in terms of, like I said, it's repeatable, right? And something like this is pretty repeatable. And I think what we mentioned last time was we've still got the camp scholarship money funds that may be running out sometime in the next couple of years. And I think it would be up to the commission to decide, hey, this year we're doing it for this cause. This year we're doing it for that cause, if it's successful. But I think because this year we're still in good shape with the camp scholarship money, and the emergency funds tend to always need some sustenance, that it was going to be more geared towards that.
So Jeremy, do you any decision votes?
I have a question before we make a decision. Are we thinking of like something where we would require people to sign up so we know what we're looking at? Because I would hate for us to have this all organized and like 2 people show up. So almost like getting a commitment and maybe like prepayment or something like that.
Yeah, it would be a sign up thing. And, 2 courts for 3 hours is a lot of time, quite frankly. If you haven't played the sport, the games can go pretty quickly. And you would want to have signups because you would want to have some kind of format. It wouldn't be just a free for all kind of rec play type thing. You would have, some kind of round robin, some kind of draw, something like that. So you'd ask people to sign up and give their approximate pickleball rating, whether it's their actual number where people get rated or a beginner or new to the game, whatever it might be. And you could kind of roll from there. And like I said,
But wait, does Pickleball and More, can they handle the registration? Because that is something, so I'm actually going through this with our business right now, is getting new software for our registrations. So like, it's not as quite as easy as it seems. So that's just, something that it can accept payments and can collect that information. So that's just something that we need to also be accounting for.
Not being rude, I'm going to actually jot that down in my notes for follow-up.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And I can talk to you about that offline, about some of the things we need to keep in mind for that.
It would be great if Pickleball and More were to offer that to its fundraising events like us, because Pam, you're absolutely right. That is a big lift to have all of that in place. And a lot of it, as Steve Burgo will say, a lot of that registrations happen within a week to 10 days of the event. It's not something that somebody signs up 2 months in advance and says, oh, I'm going to put that in my calendar. It's like they'll put a little note in their calendar and commit to it in the days before.
Dolores?
I wanted to follow up. I'm glad that Pam brought that up. It just reminded me when we had the wellness meeting, and let me put my hand down. We're going to be using that location for the event. And if I'm not mistaken, I was told, and why we said we was going to do it is because they volunteered to do, people just reach out to them and register. So we didn't have to do any of that. They were going to do all of that for us. I don't know about I don't know how they're getting paid. That's through the wellness committee. But as far as registration, we didn't have to do any of that. They were going to do all of that for us.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'll follow up with that. And I don't know if we need to take a firm vote or anything like that on whether it's something we need to pursue or we're going to pursue. But I think in the next couple of days, I can provide some follow up, and we just kind of go from there. I don't think. Unless I'm mistaken, we don't need to be on a meeting to say, all right, let's go ahead and do this. We're already kind of pursuing it, and we can just keep rolling with it.
Jeremy, if I just say, this is one of our cover our backsides. We can always just have a quick throw together meeting to do an actual vote. We don't want to have our friend be angry at us again. We'll just have a special meeting, announce it 48 hours in advance that we're going to have it, and that way we've got the vote. But I agree with you. I think the consensus is let's continue to pursue this, and then we can vote to pursue it at some point in the future.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Next on the agenda, let's save the your report for the end, Dolores, and maybe we just move right on to summer camps. I don't know if this is going to be a long portion of the meeting. I think last time we said we've been working with the Y the last couple of years, and it's gone well. And I personally don't see any reason to change, but we kind of put it on the table last year if anybody had any other ideas to bring it up tonight. So floor is yours, the collective yours.
My 2 cents, I'll just jump right in. My 2 cents is if it works, keep it going. They appreciate it. They've got the systems in place, the Y, the Dartmouth Y. It's right here in Dartmouth. I see no reason to change it unless somebody has a reason to change it. But short of that, my 2 cents is keep it going. Does anybody have any other thoughts?
So I guess just to give myself some background, is the YMCA the only place offering summer camps that we've worked with before? Am I misunderstanding that?
We've also worked with community boating.
Okay.
Dolores,
Okay.
you want to give the background on the other, because you were the one on the front lines, obviously.
So, we've been with the Y now for a couple of years. I mean, community boating was the first camp that the Youth Commission voted to use the community boating. Things didn't quite work out with community boating. And so the next year we chose the Y. There are certain guidelines and stipulations as far as what the funding source would like to see happen. One of the stipulations is it has to be a camp that offers like some type of scholarship, because the money that's in the fund is not going to pay for someone's camp for a full week. It's just to supplement what is left over. So it has to be a camp that offers a scholarship, whether the person is actually awarded a scholarship or not. One of the requirements is that they would at least need to apply for the scholarship. And it also has to be a camp that has a mechanism in place that they do all of the background work. They get the application, they screen to see if the camp recipient qualifies for a scholarship. And then whatever's left over, they would reach out to us, because if we did all of that, then there's a HIPAA violation, it was a lot that went on to it with it. So there are some camps that offer that. I think at one year, we talked about possibly the local camp through Parks and Rec, through the town of Dartmouth, but they don't have a mechanism in place for that. And they also don't offer any type of scholarship. So
Okay.
it could be also like Buttonwood Park Zoo would be able to do that too. Those camps fill up super fast too. But I know they have mechanisms in place too, where they offer scholarships and they do all of the background work. The only thing that we see on our end is I just get a list to say, these are the kids that have been approved for scholarship, and this is the amount that is still due. If a parent has already paid it, what we do is we just reimburse the parent for the amount that they paid, but if not, we just send the money directly to the camp.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
So based on that background, I would say, yeah, we should stick with the YMCA, but I think maybe finding at least one other one that offers scholarships, like if we were to extend it to Buttonwood, even though it's not in Dartmouth, giving more than one option is good.
Yeah, and also too, I'm sorry, I didn't say this. It doesn't have to be a camp in Dartmouth. The only requirement is that it has to be a youth that lives in Dartmouth. And another requirement is it can't be a youth that has received it before, because the funding source wants to make this money available to all youth. So if a youth, and I will say this about the Y, they're very good at keeping a list, and that's one of the things they understand. If a youth that went to the Y last year that received the supplemental funding from this funding source applied again this year, that person wouldn't be eligible. They want to make this money available to any child, unless something happens and it happens where that child is able to get it again because there's no other recipients, then that would happen. But the Y has been really good. She is wonderful about keeping the list, so she knows, and I have a list too. So if a youth name comes across again, we talk about it, but that hasn't happened. But you're right, it's like up to the discretion of the commissioners, because the funding source stated that they didn't want to make that decision. They wanted to put it in the hands of the youth commission to decide on what camps they wanted to use. Whether it's the same camp, different camps, is totally up to the commissioner's discretion.
And Dolores, remind us how many kids was last summer?
Now you put me on the spot. I did that in my last report. Hold on.
Roughly, it was like
It was
8 or
like-
10.
It was
8 or
about.
10
I think it was 10. I think it was 10
10.
youth. And also
So-
to, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. And also to the money that's in the account, it goes down every year. So it's a percentage that we use. So I think it's 20% of whatever's in the account. So that amount looks different every year as the coffers go down. But you're right, Alex, I believe it was 10 youth between the ages of 7 and 14 last year.
So my point to Kaylin is we're not talking about 100 kids and spread the wealth. This is really kind of laser focus this with the 10 kids. It focus on one camp is probably the most effective way to do it.
Yeah, you guys are all speaking from more experience than me. It sounds good.
Good questions, Kaylin. Thank you. You're muted, Jeremy.
Should we take a roll call vote on sticking with the Y for this summer for the camp funds, the camp scholarships? Might as well. So all those in favor of sticking with the YMCA for camp scholarships this year, I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Schwartz,
Aye.
Commissioner Matos. You're on mute.
Aye.
Commissioner Machado,
Hi.
Commissioner Goldsby,
Aye.
Commissioner Hirschman.
Aye.
I am also an aye, and that motion passes. And okay, so last up, Dolores, I know you shared your report with us, but if you want to highlight anything while we're all here.
Yes, I can. And I'm just gonna thank you guys so much. So I will follow up with the Dartmouth YMCA just to let her know, to give her a heads up, because this is the time of year that they're already starting with campership. So I will give her the heads up. And Caitlin, just to let you know, at the end of the summer camps. In one of my reports, I report back as far as how many youth went to camp and how much money was spent that year on camp. So there's always a report that I give to the commissioners, and also I sent that same report to the funding source. So, all right. So a couple of highlights that I wanted to share. Well, one thing that I wanted to share that is not on my report is that I will be attending the Youth Advocacy Conference this year. It is the first, I think it's March the 2nd. It's a 4-day conference that's in Savannah, Georgia. So I got approval to attend that to attend that conference this year. This is a conference that's held yearly. It's a national conference. It's been held in this location since 1994. So I did the budget for the Youth Commission this year. So I made sure that I requested additional funds so that if I choose to the following year to go to this conference, that I'll have money in the budget for that. That's not on the report because I haven't gone to the conference yet, but I just wanted to let the commissioners know that. So since we met last, there was the holiday drive in December. The last time that we met, I talked about starting to work on that and working with some of my coworkers because I was out of town for that. So just wanted to let the commission know that there were 55 youth this year that received toys through this holiday drive. So 29 families and 55 youth. So it wasn't just the toy drive that was at Target. There was another source that wanted to remain anonymous that reached out to me and said that they were able to help at least 10 youth in Dartmouth. But the focus were on youth who may have families or parents that work, but not make enough money to qualify for anything. So I was able to identify those families in Dartmouth. So they were able to get Christmas items for their youth also, besides the youth that got toys through Target. So that was different. Was very excited about that. So we were able to help children that normally probably wouldn't be helped. So that was really cool to have that happen. So the MLK submission, there was the award ceremony in January. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but I was out of town. But I would like to say that I'm super happy that we got submissions from Stang, several submissions from Stang, and also this year for the first time, Friends Academy. So getting the word out that this is open not just to youth that live in New Bedford, but the greater New Bedford area, and also any schools. So I was extremely excited that we were able to get submissions. So I'm hoping that every year that we get more and more students from Dartmouth schools to have submissions. I believe there may have been youth from Friends Academy that was awarded some money. I can't remember. I will be able to report. I can send an email to let people know. Yes, sir.
And Dolores, I was just gonna interject, and I was gonna say thank you for your help on that. I promoted it aggressively at Bishop Stang. We ended up with a young freshman, a freshman young lady who was second place in the poem, and we had one who was third place in the arts, and we recognized that along with Sean Burgo came to speak at Bishop Stang, and the young lady read her poem, and it was quite moving to recognize Martin Luther King Day. So it was just a super exciting event, and it was just truly an honor. The school was very proud of the fact that our youth were represented at the MLK competition.
Oh, thank you. And I was super happy when I saw the submission. I was like, oh my gosh, we got submissions from Stang and Friends Academy. Not this year from Dartmouth High School, but that's okay. It just, it is what it is. But I'm just so happy that there was representation from Dartmouth. So super excited about that. Also did I don't know whatever it was. I can't remember what month it is. I'm so sorry. But it was an naloxone and drug training that I did at the North Branch of the Dartmouth Library. It wasn't well attended. There were probably about 4 adults there, parents, but I was very happy that one of the parents actually brought her middle school child. to kind of hear about like the different interactions that drugs have, the illicit, the non-illicit drugs, and also how to administer Narcan. So everyone there was shown how to administer Narcan and left with a bag that contained Narcan, the shield for the mouth if you wanted to do chest compressions and mouth to mouth, and some other things. So that young person that attended with their parent also got a naloxone kit and took it home with them. Let's see. I did some Excel training, which I needed to do that to try to keep up with things. And I also attended the MLK breakfast. This is the first time I attended the MLK breakfast at UMass Dartmouth. It was well attended. The room was packed. It was a full house of different people in the community, different people from schools, politicians, business people. So it was a well-attended event. So I will definitely try to attend next year. And last but not least, this is the first year that I attended the MMA, which is the Massachusetts Municipal Association annual conference that they have each year in Boston. So it was a 3-day conference. So I was able to go this year to meet other people from different communities, municipalities, people that kind of do work that's similar to what I do, to kind of network, to come up with some maybe different ideas about like what I could do to kind of enhance the work that I do here in Dartmouth. So those are some of the highlights, just the regular meetings that I normally attend, like working with families. There's been a lot going on at the high school, so kind of working with some of the families there with some of the issues that are going on at the high school. And I will say this too, Alex, I did get a call from Bishop Stain asking about some resources for a couple of students who wanted some help with certain things. So that is the first time that has happened. So it's been a slow process. This is year 5 that I've been in this position, in trying to kind of open up doors and letting people know that if they need me, just to reach out, even if it's just to kind of bounce some ideas off of. And, I'm very pleased that, people are, utilizing, the services that I offer. Even though I don't offer a direct service, I do know a lot of resources or connect you to a lot of different supports in the community. So I was very happy that I did get that call from Bishop saying that I was able to provide that young person with some resources. So that is the end of my report, unless anyone has any questions. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores.
Thanks, Dolores. So that's it for the official agenda. Any open comments and questions, yada, yada, yada. So Alex, go ahead.
It looks like Dolores had her finger up first, and then I've been asking a lot of questions, so I'll pause for other people to contribute, but I had one more thought I wanted to add to the conversation.
Yeah. One thing I forgot, I am so sorry, it's not on my report. I do have an intern. So that's one thing that happened in January through Dartmouth High School. So she is a senior. She may be on. I sent her the link and I told her that this is an open meeting, that she is more than welcome to come. So I'm not sure if she's on there, but I had an intern to start in January. So I'm super excited about that. And there's also a teacher at Dartmouth High who wanted to be on the youth commission, but unfortunately she lives in Providence. But I did tell her about it. I sent her the link to the meeting and I told her that she's more than welcome to attend some of the meetings. She works with students that English is their second language. So something else that I didn't mention, but it's not on my report, is that I did give out some cards to the high school, and I'm gonna bring some actually by staying in some of the other schools. It's the red cards that anybody who's working with families that may have a family member who may be dealing with some immigration issues or may have some legal things going on where they're not here in the country legally, people still have rights. And so I ordered these cards. They came from California. It's like, know your rights. So if you are ever approached by ICE or someone from immigration, there are things on the card that you can read out to that person to let them know that, I'm invoking my amendment rights. I choose not to do A, B, and C, and they can legally do this. So I dropped those cards off at the high school. I have 20 cards for each of the schools. So I'll be bringing some cards by Bishop Stain tomorrow in some of the other schools. So if anyone is working with any young people or know any families that they feel could benefit from this, they can give the red cards out. Okay, that's it for me. Sorry.
Dolores, do you know about when you're going to swing by Stang? Do you have an idea?
Probably in the morning. Let's see. Tomorrow is Thursday. Probably before I go in, it'll be probably by, oh, wait a minute. What's tomorrow's Thursday? Am I meeting anybody? Probably by 9 o'clock or about around 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, terrific. If you don't mind, when you pop in, just have them buzz up to my classroom. Call it to my classroom if I'm available. I'll come down and say a quick chat with you and
Okay.
introduce you to the team.
All right. Will do. Thank you.
Alex, you had something else? Sounded like?
Okay, so I understand from another one of my boards that the COVID Zoom open meetings is expiring the end of April. Do we know that for a fact for our committee? And how are we planning on conducting these meetings beyond? I guess this won't be your burden, Jeremy, if you are leaving us. But if you would like, I can inquire, but do you know anything about this, Jeremy?
I have not heard anything about that. Dolores may know more.
So yes, the order that was presented by Governor Healy is expiring. I think they're waiting to see if she extends it or makes a modification. But as it stands right now, that is correct. So not sure. You're right. It is April. So waiting on some type of clarification to see if she is going to like modify it or say that it's still okay for people to have Zoom meetings, hybrid meetings. We're not sure, but you're right. As of April, if nothing changes, then meetings will have to be in person. I will say this was discussed at one of the select board meetings. So I think they are coming up with some type of letter to draft to send out to boards to let them know that this is coming and what could be some of the options. So I know that they're working on that. I'm not sure when it's going to come out. It should be soon. It's already February. So think we could be on the lookout for something or some guidance from the select board.
And our next meeting is May, 3 months.
So we should know something by then. Yes, correct.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Dolores.
On that note, should we pick a date for the next meeting?
It'll be a sad meeting if you're not there, Jeremy.
Sorry. Thank you.
The only Wednesday I can't do is the 7th, as of right now. So anything after that in May, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so 14th, 21st, or 28th would be my availability.
Does that work
I
for
vote
me?
the 21st.
Of May 21st. That works for me.
I'll also vote for that one.
Yeah, I think it so far looks like it's open. So I will put it down for myself also. May 21st?
May 21st.
Okay. And like I said, by then we will have more guidance as far as how that meeting is going to proceed because the order does expire in April. And I know the select board is working on a letter to send out to all the commissions and boards. So we'll know more by then.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right. Anybody have anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second. All right. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Schwartz,
Yep.
Commissioner Matos,
Hi.
Commissioner Machado.
Aye.
Commissioner Goldsby.
Yep.
Commissioner Hirschman.
Aye.
And I am also an aye, so meeting officially adjourned at 7:50.